everyone, welcome back to the Chapple Show, and today we're going to be talking about the lottery. Not like how to win the lottery or the lottery mindset or anything. It's more specifically like what you should do if you win the lottery, like what you would do if you had a lot of money, and why a lot of lottery winners go broke. And I'm going to kind of explain that. There's actually one really interesting theory that I have for why lottery winners go broke. So does anyone know how many out of the all the lottery winners in the USA that have won $1 million or more, how many of them go broke? Take a guess. That number is 70%. 70% lose their money within 5 years. 5 years. Why is this? So I'm going to give you my kind of theory, and then I'll kind of back it up with some facts here. So who buys lottery tickets in the first place? We're going to go backtrack here. Who buys lottery tickets? Millionaires don't buy lottery tickets. They know that it's kind of a waste of money. It's a lot of lower class to lower middle class people, people living close to poverty, people that have never really climbed the wealth ladder before, so to speak. So what happens when someone who has never climbed the wealth ladder before wins $1 million? Well, what normally happens for someone like me, okay, I'll give you an example. When I was just starting out, when I was a teenager, I was making a little bit of money. I didn't really have a lot of knowledge about wealth. I mean, I was learning about stocks and stuff, but my knowledge was so small in terms of how to make money, how to build a business, how to do all that stuff, how to use money properly, right? And then kind of over time, as you start acquiring more money and start learning how to acquire more money, and you go to I went to a corporate job. I learned a lot more about how to make money there. I started a bunch of businesses. Eventually, I'm up to the 6 figures amount now. Hopefully, if I can keep going on track this year, then all of a sudden you kind of realize, holy shit, you really need to pay attention to your money, and there's so many mistakes that a lot of people make that I was making even when I was younger. And so when you start acquiring this money and start finding ways to learn about money and all that stuff, you go through this inadvertent financial education as you start getting more money. And so a lot of these people, when they walk into this $1 million, they don't realize, they don't have that knowledge of wealth that the millionaires do. The people who actually have $1 million and don't blow it, they don't have that wealth knowledge. They haven't had to go through acquiring that money. Apart from buying $5 lottery tickets every week for 20 years. That was their version of an investment, right? And so it's something to think. Do you guys agree with me on that? I mean, a lot of the lottery winners, they don't have that financial education that the actual millionaires do. So they start making mistakes because they don't have this, the knowledge that the average millionaire does. So one of the mistakes that I kind of wrote down is that $1 million, it isn't as much as people think. $1 million isn't a lot, especially if you're in a city like New York, LA, Toronto. $1 million won't buy you a house anymore in those locations in downtown. $1 million, people think oh my God, I'm a millionaire, I can retire. Unless you're 60 or 65, you can't retire. $1 million is just a nice boost to your wealth. And so they think that, oh my God, this $1 million is going to last me a long time. I can spend it on whatever the fuck I want. No, that is not what you're supposed to do. But so let's just see some other mistakes here. By the way, do you guys think $1 million is a lot of money? Because as I'm starting to kind of grow my wealth and stuff, I'm coming to realize that $1 million isn't that much. In my spot right now, $1 million is less than the price of the average home in the city I'm in right now. The price of the average home is $1.4 million right now. I can't buy a house if I had $1 million. So, moving on here, mistakes. Obviously, you guys have heard this: money to family and friends. And this is kind of family and friends, they give away too much. So if you have $1 million, they'll give away 400 grand to family and friends, right? And then they just go blow it on booze or whatever. So, or, you got those friends where it's just like, oh man, you have a lot of money now. I have this great idea for a bowling alley and we should open it together. And meanwhile, they just take the money, run, bye. Gone forever. So they give money to family and friends. Let's see what else we got here. Oh yeah, big one. They don't invest. So I know in places like England, if you win the lottery, you are actually given a financial advisor for a day. And you can choose to continue with the financial advisor or not. So I remember watching this one lottery documentary by the BBC, and these people won millions and millions of pounds. And this financial advisor was like, look, if you invest in these stocks, you can earn £20,000 a month for this year for you to live off of. Plus you get to keep all of your lottery winnings. All right. So it's like, I don't know how much they had, millions and millions of pounds, right? So if they didn't have that financial advisor and they just spent all that money and they used it to live hard for 5 years, they would have nothing left. But because this financial advisor is a good person, he said, did the smart thing, hey, look, invest in stuff with a 5% dividend. You'll get a check back every month and use that to boost your lifestyle. Don't quit your job either, unless you're old or something, right? So a lot of them don't invest their money. They just go and fucking blow it on whatever they want. And I guess the big one is they up their lifestyle. So it's sure, I think that this was a quote, I'm going to paraphrase it. It's like, it's sure easy to live on $1 million if you're living like a student, but it's tough to live on $1 million if you're living like a billionaire. I think that, I forget what that's from. It must have been from a book somewhere. It might have been Mark Cuban that said it, when it's really easy to become wealthy if you're living on rice and beans and paying $500 for rent a month or $400 for rent. But if you're renting out an entire house for $2,500 a month or more, $5,000 a month, whatever, the $1 million would be tough to live on. And that's just the way it is. So that's why a lot of people screw up. So what would I do? Well, if I had $1 million and if I won the lottery, I would invest. I'd probably invest in real estate, because that's just my strength. A lot of people go stocks, and I'll kind of talk about that. But I kind of have a strength in real estate and real estate investing right now, and property management and all that stuff. So I'd probably go out there and buy 2 investment properties, all cash. Or maybe I could buy a few, and maybe I could buy 3 and then just somehow get a mortgage on one of them, right? Something like that, or on all of them, a little bit of a mortgage. So I don't know, I'd invest in real estate, take a cash flow. That's what I would like. I would, if I didn't do that, I would go straight into stocks, and I would do a little bit of bonds. If I won $100 million, like a Powerball, I'd invest in some bonds. Bonds, I've kind of ripped on them, but I would prefer putting your money in bonds over banks, over checking accounts, because at least you get a few percentage points instead of 0.1%. But stocks, I'd go just heavy into a 6% yield per year. That brings back $60,000 per year if you had $1 million. So think about that. If you could do a 6% return, let's just say 4% in dividends, okay? So 4% in dividends on $1 million portfolio, you make 40 grand a year. That's a whole different job. And you would just make that from your investment portfolio. That'd be great. Lastly, I think that I'd probably do the real estate, and then stocks would be probably the third thing. But the second thing I would probably do is I would take a couple $100,000 of that and put it into the business, into marketing, advertising, whatever. And I would try to make more money from that through, real estate agent stuff, YouTube, whatever, online businesses, affiliate marketing, all that kind of stuff. So that's what I would do. What would you do if you won the lottery? If it was only $1 million, because if I won $100 million, guess what? I'm buying a $5 million house. If I win $100 million cash, that's what I'm getting. And I'm probably going to retire. But if you win $1 million, what would you do with it? how would you invest it? Would you just go stocks? Would you spend it? Would you make any extravagant purchases? I would tell you, apart from maybe going out to dinner like once and having it be on the lottery winnings, I probably wouldn't even buy anything extravagant. I wouldn't go on vacation. I wouldn't buy a car. Wouldn't do anything. It would just straight investments, accelerate my future wealth. So anyways, I think that's going to wrap it up. I'd like to thank you very much for watching. Remember to subscribe, leave a like. That always helps. You're all very beautiful people. I'll see you guys in the next video.